Republican leaders have shut down Congress for about 2 weeks. MAGA Mike fled last week after he faced a revolt against MAGA Republicans who wouldn't pass a rule. So they just sent everybody home, not just for the 4th of July weekend, but like July 13th, maybe. I don't even think they work anymore. But while they are home doing whatever they're doing, they got hit with Donald Trump's financial disclosure, or at least what I think is a partial financial disclosure, showing that he made billions and billions of dollars, at least $2 billion, but probably more, during the first year with 21,000 stock trades and crypto schemes. And of course, the stock trades, would happen right around like lifting the tariffs, which he said were going to be great and make everybody rich. But when he paused the tariffs, his investment accounts made 327 stock purchases that day before he paused the tariffs. Do you remember when I would be showing, I think the account is called Unusual Whales or something, where they would show like an account that would make like a massive trade. I can't say for sure that one was him, but that sure looks like what was going down. So now the MAGA Republicans who were railing about Hunter Biden selling a $50,000 painting or whatever, or being on the Burisma board, when Biden was not in office, by the way, like when Biden was out of office, Hunter was on was on a board, but he went to Yale Law School and he had sat on boards before. But that's what they spent all of their time railing against. So now, when faced with billions and billions and billions of dollars, the worst form of Bernie Madoff behavior, they're saying, well, he's telling us. So there's nothing wrong if he's saying that he's a crook and a criminal. The difference is that we just say things that aren't true about the Bidens, and then we investigate them, and then we still make up the lies about him. But here we see in the financial disclosure that Donald Trump published, he just told us what he was doing. First off, I believe that disclosure is probably just the tip of the iceberg. He didn't release it when he was supposed to release it, which is also a massive red flag. If you see, as Donald Trump said when he was running, I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and if I did it, nobody would care anyway. Well, his party wouldn't, but it still constitutes murder if you do it on Fifth Avenue in front of everybody, okay? And the MAGA Republicans, to play that metaphor out a little more, yes, shooting somebody on Fifth Avenue is different than what would be the equivalent of, I don't know, a parking infraction, which was what they tried to make Hunter Biden's thing into the biggest thing ever, versus someone shooting everybody on Fifth Avenue. It seems like what Trump's doing. This is what James Comer has been saying right now. He was interviewed by Notice, and he was like, well, just what we do. Here, play this clip.
If you ask Donald Trump Jr., are you on a board for this crypto company? Are you on the board for this predictions market company? Are you on the board for this drone company? He will say, yes, I am. If you ask the president, the family, did you all do this development overseas in this country? Yes, it's the best development ever. It's going to be blah, 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 blah. They're transparent. If you ask Joe Biden, did you take money from China? No, I don't know what you're talking about. No one in my family took money. Well, then I subpoena their bank records, and guess what? There's money from China in there. Millions of dollars. For what? You may not like what some of the deals that the Trump family's been involved in, but we know about them. The Democrats say, oh, you should be investigating Trump. For what? Well, his son's on a board of a drone company. What's to investigate? He's on the board of a drone company. Whereas the Bidens lied about everything. They completely lied, and to continue to lie to this day. So there's a big difference. Now, nothing that I've seen that the president's family's done illegal. As far as I know, they're paying taxes. They've been transparent. Now, we can have ethics laws that would ban president's family from doing X, Y, or Z, but we don't. There are no laws on the books. Maybe there should be, but there aren't.
Because you're voting against those ethics laws, how do you know he's paying his? What are you basing that on? He made a deal by suing the government for $10 billion back in January, where he settled and gave himself a super pardon that says he doesn't have to pay taxes on this money, basically. I want to bring in Brian Tyler Cohen. It's the height of offensiveness there, Brian. I want to get your reaction to that, but I want to remind everybody to make sure you go and get The Day After, How to Wield Power in a Post-Trump World, out in bookstores right now, a forward by Mark Elias. Brian Tyler Cohen's new book. It's out now. Make sure you all get it. Order it right now. Brian, you see something like that, what's your reaction to it?
I mean, James Comer saying that if you ask Donald Trump if his family is making money hand over fist by taking jobs in all of these companies that are suddenly getting government contracts, and he'll say, well, yes, I am. Yes, I am on the board of all these companies. You're exactly right. When you say him thinking, James Comer suggesting that all of this corruption and self-dealing is okay because they'll admit it is just so backwards. Being forthright about the fact that you are engaging in corruption does not absolve the fact that you are engaging in corruption. And the reality is, if Joe Biden or Barack Obama or the Clintons did 1/1000th of what is happening at the Trump administration, of what is happening with Trump and his family, if they got 1/1000th of the amount of money that Don Jr. is making because he suddenly works at a drone company or a prediction market company, they would be apoplectic, and rightfully so. There would be investigations into this from now until the sun burns out. But because it's Trump, they're sitting here and pretending with a straight face that him almost tripling his net worth and his family making hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, is somehow completely acceptable because they pay their taxes, which of course James Comer has no idea because he doesn't run the IRS. And frankly, the IRS probably wouldn't even say if Donald Trump wasn't paying his taxes because of the extent to which Trump is willing to wield the federal government as his own personal weapon and profit machine. So look, I don't think it's lost on anybody if you watch James Comer try and do apologia for Donald Trump making billions of dollars at the taxpayer's expense while he's just engaging in the most gross self-dealing that we've ever seen. I mean, like, Jimmy Carter sold his peanut farm. What are we doing here?
Look, you have Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, who are in business with Trump and in business with the Middle East countries, acting as envoys on the most delicate matters of war and peace. They're not State Department officials. They're not they're not appointed to anything. And the question, even if you assume that Trump made these disclosures the right way, which he did not, who in the right mind thinks that he's actually paying his taxes right now? Does anybody truly think that dude is paying accurate capital gains and accurate income? Like, come on. I'm giving you my opinion, of course, but I would not be shocked if we found out it was a big donut hole of what he's been paying each of the, I think that's the more likely scenario. But just if you take James Comer's supposition through, so you wouldn't want to know what Saudi Arabia was getting in return for their investment, what the UAE was getting in return for their investment, what Qatar was getting in return for their investment, what Pakistan was getting in return for their investment, and why it also seems that the countries Donald Trump doesn't really like, EU, Ukraine, are people who don't invest directly in him. They may invest in America in treasuries, but they're not personally investing in him, and that his whole worldview is shaped around those disclosures, which are, in my view, 5% of what actually is happening, which is bad as it is. But there's all of that. And that's what we need to know. People have died on a mass scale, and this because of those disclosures.
And it's also worth noting, all of this is a violation of the Emoluments Clause, which is in the Constitution. It is why we prevent heads of state from accepting gifts from other countries, because we don't know where their loyalties are going to lie. And so when Trump engages in these deals where he has Qatar and the UAE buying up his crypto and his stablecoin and his meme coins and pumping money directly into his and his family's pockets, and then in turn they get favorable deals, this is the exact reason that we have the Emoluments Clause in place. This is the exact reason that we have an oversight committee in place to be able to investigate exactly this. But because James Comer is lodged so far up Trump's ass that he could touch the back of the guy's teeth Of course he won't investigate any of this. After all, he's got to spend his time investigating Act Blue and whatever other Democratic organizations exist out there. So his plate is full. He couldn't possibly investigate the hundreds of billions of dollars going directly from a foreign company into the president's pocket so that he can reward them with favorable trade terms or whatever else it is that they're looking to get.
Now, look, what you and I are trying to build and what we've built, and hat tip to Brian, because he's the OG in this area. Before there was Meidas, there was Brian Tyler Cohen on YouTube, to be very clear about the sequence of everything. And but we're building independent media, and I think it's been helpful in getting the message out to people directly. But how do we combat? And you're seeing it over the past 24 hours. You're seeing, Mamdani made a suggestion that was the exact suggestion that they made in Texas during heat waves, the exact suggestion that's on the Department of Energy website. Hey, be careful. The power grid's working overtime. We don't want to overheat it because then that could result in real serious issues. So think about turning your thermostat to 78 degrees Fahrenheit, unplug devices, care about the neighbors. Boom, state regime media, Fox, and all these other right-wing media that are funded with trillions of dollars. Hey, commie mom Donnie, you don't tell my thermostat, the thermostat, da. And they push that, man, and pop, 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 coordinated like never before. I mean, like you see that with them. And then that's their outrage machine versus, hey, like, y'all realize that the frickin' Strait of Hormuz is basically still closed? Do you realize that Donald Trump got us in this catastrophic war, that he's made up a fake board of peace, that he claims there's a ceasefire in Gaza when there isn't and thousands of people are still dying, that he blew up a little girls' school in Iran and slaughtered 168 girls? I mean, it's tan suit stuff all over again, and that's where they go. So, this is what you got to talk about in the book, and why people got to see the book also, because how do you wield power in that type of environment?
So I think this is the perfect testament to why the left has to be more comfortable fighting. The reality is they're not discerning. The right is not discerning about the lies, the misinformation, the disinformation that they're going to put forward. They're not going to mention that when they complain about Zoran Mamdani requesting gently that people collectively keep their thermostats at 78, that's the exact same policy that's on the Department of Energy's website, or at least it was on the Department of Energy's website, if they haven't taken it down by now. It's the exact same type of thing that Greg Abbott asked Texans to do when they were dealing with their freeze. It's the exact same thing Nikki Haley asked South Carolinians to do when they were dealing with their low temperatures. So this is nothing new, but they have a very well-funded and very ingrained right-wing media machine that just hums along, and it goes from Zero Hedge and Alex Jones all the way up to Megyn Kelly and the Daily Wire, all the way up to OAN and Newsmax, then Fox, and eventually the President of the United States. And again, they have no scruples about this stuff. They're not discerning about what they push forward. And so I think Democrats have to get much more comfortable with the idea of not just investing in the independent media space and embracing this space. And I know that you have been an absolute champion at doing that. And the growth, the astronomical growth that Meidas has seen is a testament to the hunger for people out there for this kind of news. And frankly, Ben, you and your team's competence in this space, and so you deserve a huge amount of credit for trying to help us achieve parity in the pro-democracy ecosystem with this 10 to 15-year-old project that they've been engaged in on the right. And also kudos to everybody who's watching, because more people consume independent media now than even consume their news on linear TV. So everybody watching is a big part of that, a big part of the message that we're sending to the establishment, that we're not going to be willing to settle for the both sides media that we've been saddled with for so long, where everything that Republicans say is going to be treated as if it's sacrosanct, even though it's blatantly misinformation or disinformation. But beyond that, just this idea of getting comfortable fighting. The book talks about wielding power, how Democrats have refused to wield power and how Republicans have abused their power. And that asymmetry is so vast that it got us into the position that we're in right now, where we often have so many Democrats who are just perfectly content to heap deference or goodwill onto the other side in hopes that they'll come back and do bipartisanship or do compromise or, offer some reciprocation. And it never happens. And we cannot be beholden to the politics of a bygone era. We have to be focused on dealing with the Republican Party that we're dealing with today. And this is a Republican Party that doesn't even want to engage in democracy. This is an anti-democratic Republican Party, small d Democratic Republican Party. And so if we don't start fighting like democracy is at risk, is in existential peril, then we're going to lose it. You've heard the famous quote, a republic if you can keep it. That means that we have to take an active approach to actually trying to keep it. And it starts with recognizing our opponent, recognizing that we have to actually fight fire with fire. And only after we do that will we have any hope of making sure that we can take power again.
Everybody, make sure you order your copy right now. Here it is, The Day After, How to Wield Power in a Post-Trump World. And Brian, if you can, just remind our viewers and listeners, some of the money's going to a great cause as well.
So some of the money is going to go, I'm going to donate proceeds from every single book sold to Mark Elias's 501c3 called the Free Election Fund. Mark Elias's team is engaged in about 84 lawsuits across the country right now. And those are lawsuits to protect voting rights, to protect democracy. And those are funded by donations that go to the Free Election Fund. And so I wanted to make the decision not just to talk the talk about the importance of protecting democracy and expanding voting rights, but actually walk the walk. And so myself, along with my publisher, along with my editor, all three of us are going to 3 times match the amount of proceeds that we're going to donate to the Free Election Fund and continue to support election litigation, which has never been more important, but especially important as we head toward midterms and Republicans continue to engage in this anti-democratic behavior.
Everybody get a copy of the book now. Order it as soon as this YouTube video ends, or the audio, wherever you're getting it, The Day After, How to Wield Power in a Post-Trump World. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Ben.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.